Okay, we're going to do some rounding and estimating now. The skill of rounding and estimating is very important. It helps us with our calculations. This video aims to show you how to round, how to estimate, and why it's important. And hopefully you'll be able to do this by the end of it. You should be able to make a list of numbers that round to a number and appreciate why the rounding strategy helps us with our calculations. So look at this example here. A plane covered a distance of 1,095 kilometres, and we're trying to round this to the nearest 10 kilometres. So if we position it on a number line, it can really help us understand rounding. So 1,095, the nearest 10. So what we have to think about is what multiple of 10 would come before or after this number. So the number that would come before this, that's a multiple of 10, would be 1,090. And the number that would come after this, that's a multiple of 10, would be 1,100. So now that we've done that, we can say, well, is it closer to this one or is it close to this one? Now, obviously, if we were here, we'd be able to say it's close to here. If we were over here, we could see where it was close to. But we're actually right in the middle. And the rule that we have when we're in the middle is that we always round up. So we can say that 1,095 is approximately 1,100, which is rounded to the nearest 10 kilometres. This little symbol you'll be using now with this work. Okay, here's another example. The number of people at a concert was 36,355, and we have to use the number line to help us round to the nearest 100. So the first question we have to ask is, what multiple of 100 comes before and after this? Well, the number that's a multiple of 100 that would come before would be 36,300. The multiple of 100 that would come after this would be 36,400. And we know that 36,300 and something comes in between the two. The next thing we have to think about is, well, what would the middle be? Well, the middle would be 36,000. It would be more than 300. It would be halfway between this hundreds number and this hundreds number. So it would be 350. That's in the middle. Now we have to ask ourselves, well, which number, where does this number fall? So this number here, 355, 36,355, does that come before or after this number? Well, this is 50, 355, 36,355 would come after, would come somewhere here. So we can say that this number is closer to this. So we would say 36,355, we can do that wobbly equal sign, which means it's close to, it's approximately 36,400. Okay, here's another example, 36,450. So this one we're going to round again to the nearest 100. So what's the number that comes before and after this? Have a think. Well, 36,400 would come before this number. What would be the multiple of 100 that would come after? 36,500 would come after. What would be the exact middle here? Well, interestingly, the exact middle would be 36,450, which is the number we've got here. Now remember the rule, if it's exactly in the middle, we round it up. So we could say 36,450, we can use our wobbly equal sign, it's approximately 36,500. That's a 50 there. Okay, so the same principles apply as we round to thousands or 10,000s. So here we have an example of rounding to the nearest 1,000. So we had the number 7,300. We're trying to round it to the nearest 1,000. So the thousands number that comes before it, the multiple of a 1,000 that comes before is 7,000, and the multiple of 1,000 that comes after is 8,000. This is our middle, 7,500. This number comes before that, so we can round it to 7,000. Here's one for you to try. You might want to pause the video, have a look at it. So we have 19,500 and we want to round to the nearest $1,000. So the thousands number that comes before this would be 19,000. The thousands number that would come, the multiple of 1,000 that would come after would be 20,000. Our middle would be 19,500, which is exactly the number we've got here. And remember the rule, we would round it up. So we could say 19,500 is approximately 20,000. So why do we bother with this skill? Why is it important? Why would we like to find approximates when we can just find the actual answer by adding things up? Well, it's a really important way of checking if answers are reasonable. If you do a big long calculation, you might want to check your calculation, well, you should check every calculation really, and to check to see if it's reasonable, you can use rounding. So let's take these examples here. So you've got the example here of 119 plus 182. Now, if you calculate it, you might realise that the answer is 301. But we could do a quick estimating calculation, a quick rounding calculation to check if our calculation or answer is reasonable. So this, if we rounded this to 100 and we rounded this to 200, 200 plus 100 would be about 300. So we can very quickly check, you know what, our answer is very close to that. So I'm pretty confident that it's reasonable and correct. I can also use the same principle for subtractions. So it's very, very important that you do practice this skill of estimating and rounding.